Want to speed up your language learning? Get access to all of our best PDF cheat sheets for free. Just click the link in the description and sign up for your free lifetime account right now.
Hi everybody, welcome back to Ask Alisha, the weekly series where you ask me questions and I answer them. Maybe. Let's get to your first question for this week. First question this week comes from Holy. Hi Holy. Holy says, what is the meaning of Throwback Thursday? Awesome question. Throwback Thursday. This is a social media term. Let's talk about it. So, Throwback Thursday refers to a pattern of posting that happens on Thursdays, typically. Throwback refers to going back in time. A throwback is a look at a past point in time. So this can be from your childhood, from a few years ago, from a special memory that you had, whatever. So Throwback Thursday is a common tag that people use on their social media posts, like especially on Instagram or Facebook, perhaps Twitter as well. So people will tag using a hashtag, the hashtag mark, people will tag their photos with Throwback Thursday and share an image from the past. They'll share something that was special to them, a special memory, maybe something from their childhood or their hometown. They want to share something and mark it as not being a recent image. They're marking it as something from the past. So Throwback Thursday is a fun way for people to share memories that aren't recent, but for some reason they came up in that person's mind recently. So Throwback Thursday refers to this. So we don't actually use Throwback Thursday really in sentences. We typically just use it as a hashtag in our Instagram post or in our Facebook post, perhaps. You might also see hashtag TBT used. For some people, Throwback Thursday is a long phrase to type, so instead they write TBT. So TBT means Throwback Thursday, or you might even just see people writing TB, so that means throwback. So throwback refers to just going back in time, sharing some old memory, but you don't have to post it on Thursday. So if you don't want to post your throwback picture on Thursday, you can just write throwback or TB. So this is what Throwback Thursday refers to, and this is what a throwback is. I hope that this answers your question. Thanks very much for an interesting one. Okay, let's go to our next question. Next question comes from Harry. Hi, Harry. Harry says, what is the difference between raise and raised? Okay, let's talk about these two. First, let's talk about these two words in terms of verbs. So raise is the present tense or the infinitive form of the verb, and raised is the past tense form. It's also the past participle form of this verb. So depending on the type of sentence we create, we need to choose a different verb form for this word. So the verb raise, the verb to raise, means to cause something to go up, like to raise your hand. You cause your hand to go up in the classroom or in a lecture setting, to raise your hand. Or another example might be like, let's raise a glass to our team. So that means cause your glass to go up, right? So we're lifting something, right? So to raise something means to cause it to move in an upward motion. So when we use this verb in the present tense, we use raise, as I just did in my first example. Please raise your hand. If we want to express the same thing, but in past tense, we would say, I raised my hand, or we raised a glass to the team. So this is how we use this word as a verb. However, raise, with no D, can also be used as a noun. In American English, we use the word raise to talk about an increase in our pay, an increase in our income, the amount of money we receive in exchange for doing our job. So when we receive a raise, it's generally a good thing. We know that it's being used in this way because we always see it preceded by a. So that means an A always comes before this word. Like, I got a raise last week. I'm so happy. Or, I'm going to apply for a raise this year. So this use of raise refers to getting more money for your job. And most people typically want one. Some people might talk about getting an annual raise. So an annual raise is a yearly raise. So every year, they receive an income increase. That is an annual raise. So to recap, we can use raise as a verb or as a noun. As a verb, it refers to causing something to go up. As a noun, it refers to getting an increase in the amount of money you make at your job. So I hope this helps you understand the difference between raise and raise. Thanks very much for the question. Okay, let's move on to our next one. The next question comes from Nana. Hi, Nana. Nana says, how do we use verbs as nouns nouns. I'm a little confused about this grammar. Okay, so using a verb as a noun, we have a word for this. It's called a gerund. So for example, when we say something like, I like hiking, hiking is an example of a gerund. That's a verb that has been turned into a noun. So when we do this, we take the base form of the verb, and then we use the ing form of that. So in my first example, I like hiking, we took the base form hike and used the ing form of that and created hiking. So we can use that not just as the progressive or the continuous form of a verb, but we can also use that as a noun. You could use other verbs in the same way. I like cooking. I like taking pictures, and so on. So to create a noun from a verb, you just need to use the ing form. Of course, this doesn't mean that you can just take any verb and turn it into a noun and put it in any place in the sentence. You still need to follow basic grammar rules. You still need to make sure that your sentence makes grammatical sense. So you need to use your new gerund, your new noun verb, in the same place that you would use a regular noun. So for example, sleeping and studying are two things that take up a lot of my time these days. So in this sentence, we have sleeping and studying, right? So these two things are acting as nouns. Yes, they do have the ing form, so we might think, oh, is this a progressive tense? Is this a continuous tense verb? But they are acting as nouns. A and B take up lots of my time these days, right? Sleeping and studying take up lots of my time. We need to make sure we use them in the correct positions in our sentence. But yes, simply to create a noun from a verb, you simply use the ing form of that verb, and it is called a gerund. So there are some verbs that we tend to use more in this gerund form, and some verbs that we tend to use more in their infinitive form, the to plus verb form. So it takes some time to get an understanding of which verbs it's natural to use the gerund form of and which verbs it's natural to use the infinitive form of. A really good way to kind of get yourself used to this is to read. So pay attention to when you see an author using the ing form of a verb and note whether it's in a noun position or in a verb position. This can help you to identify which ones you can use yourself. So I hope that this helps answer your question about how to use verbs as nouns. Thanks very much for sending it along. All right, that is everything that I have for this week. Thank you, as always, for sending your great questions. Remember, you can send them to me at englishclass101.com/ask-Alisha. There's also a link in the video description if you want to check that out too. If you like this video, please, please, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. Also, check us out at englishclass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this week's episode of Ask Alisha, and I will see you again soon. Bye!